Hello and welcome to another episode of Fan Fuel Motorsports Podcast, the podcast where fans fuel talk about motorsports. Today is episode 99. We are one away from the big centennial. And as always on our live shows, I am joined by Colton Cranmore. What do you have to say about the almost centennial episode of Fan Fuel Motorsports Podcast?
Didn't think we'd make it this far.
Yeah, me either. it's been a long time, I guess.
Yeah.
Damn.
Over 2 years. Yeah.
Over 2 years. Wow. You've been here for most of it. Keith's been here for about half of it now, which is crazy to think. And then, of course, Nathan's been here from the start, if we can ever find him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as we always do, how's the weather in Wyoming? Are you freezing your ass off this week?
Oh, it hasn't been too bad this week. It's been 50s, 60s most days. Wind hasn't been too bad, but this means thunderstorm season. And thunderstorms here, for all of you, I am fucking horrified of lightning. And they don't roll through at like 1 o'clock or like 5 o'clock or like any time that like I can be inside a building. No, they have to roll through at 3 p.m. every fucking day. Right when I need to leave for work. So I have to go brave the fucking parking lot with nothing around us because there's no trees up here. But fucking light poles sticking up. Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, well, I could see how that would be a little bit scary. Well, the good thing is we get thunderstorms down here, but ever since I moved up here to South Carolina, they've not been very bad. They were a lot worse when I was, I guess, in the low country below the fall line. So, we were supposed to have thunderstorms a couple of nights this week, and I saw like 3 lightning strikes, and I laughed that they said we were going to have severe weather, and we never did. So, but we got a fuck ton of rain this week, and a big, good amount of wind for southern standards. Had some trees knocked down and stuff, so that was nice.
Yeah, when you guys have wind, like at least shit can be hurt by the wind, at 20, 30 miles an hour, 40, 50, right? Like, you've seen Napoleon Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that town looks like my town. There's fucking nothing here.
That's fucking boring.
It's depressing, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't handle that. So are you ready to get into the show? I mean, we're here, might as well, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's start off with Splash and Dash. I'm assuming Colton's ready for that, so I'll start. F1 off this weekend was at Baku in Azerbaijan for first of a couple of races in a row here. The stereotypical tires are too hard debate invaded F1 at the Azerbaijan GP this weekend. They received ridicule over tires that lasted nearly the entire race and made for the most boring trip to Baku to date.
Yeah, Sergio Perez took the top step of the podium and cemented his legacy as the street course king of modern Formula One, as well as becoming the first driver to win the Azerbaijan GP twice.
And then we head back over to IndyCar for the Grand Prix of Alabama. Romain Grosjean takes the NTT Data P1 award on Saturday for the second time this year, but falls short of the eventual race winner, Scotty McLaughlin, due to a 30-second plus disadvantage of overtake after the final pit stop.
Yeah, and the Kiwi of supercars fame became the first 2-time winner of 2023 due to a perfectly timed caution mid-race, allowing Team Penske's 3-stop gamble to pay off for the first time in the GP of Alabama's history.
Yeah, that was a bit of a race. If you watched IndyCar, having a 3-stop strategy win was definitely not the norm. Everybody tries it every year in Barber Motorsports Park. It never works. So it was really interesting to see Scott McLaughlin pull it off. And all three of the Team Penske cars pulled it off pretty well with, I think, Power finishing on the podium. And with Joseph Newgarden, he had some suspension damage from a lap 1 incident and still finished like 6th. So that was pretty nuts. All right, so woke or joke. Let's move into this. This is back for this week. If you don't know how it goes, woke or joke is if you like it, it's woke. If you don't like it, it's a joke. So let's go on to IndyCar. staying in the Grand Prix of Alabama, holds a full course yellow for the stopped car of Stingray Robb for nearly 2 laps during a green flag cycle of pit stops. The three stop strategy cars were the ones coming in at this point, and to let the cycle finish rather than going full course yellow, they held the or rather than going full course yellow when Stingray Robb stalled at the museum complex, IndyCar held the yellow flag. Welker
Joke. Unacceptable. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. Anytime there's a car stopped on the track, throw the damn caution. Get him out of the way. Let's make sure the people are safe, first of all. And then if it messes up strategy, so what? Like, that's part of a race strategy, right? You have a wrench thrown in it at any time.
Yeah. So we saw this at Las Vegas a couple of years ago. I can't remember, in the NASCAR Cup Series. And they had a tire sitting right on the edge of pit road.
Oh, it's Kansas.
It's Kansas? Okay.
Yeah. The Bushler was leading?
Yeah. And they just left the whole thing for pit cycle to happen. Just didn't want anybody to have an unfair advantage. But like Colton said, that's racing, right? Of course you want to have an unfair advantage if you take it. That's the whole purpose of people diving in when they see an accident occurred and the caution's not out at any road course racing series in the world, whether it be Formula One, touring cars, whatever, or in this case, IndyCar. For me, it's a big joke because unlike this tire at Kansas that was sitting in the trial grass, Stingray Robb's car was sitting in the grass after the museum complex, which is turns, I think, 7, 8, and 9, where we saw multiple cars spin out and or crash during practice over the weekend. Yes, he was on the inside of the wall, but Elio Castroneves in practice 2 years in a row went towards or hit that wall where that car was sitting. So under race conditions, he could have been compromised by being hit, and we don't know if he immediately stopped and pulled his belts off and anything like that because there's not a camera right there close enough to see in detail. But if that's the case and he does have his belts off or he's trying to fiddle with getting the steering wheel off and he gets hit, open wheel cars will break your wrists if their steering wheels get touched. So big no for me. I don't give a shit about pit strategy. Sucks to suck when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, especially in those kind of scenarios, because like with the NASCAR deal, it's almost like they forced Buescher to pit, right? And then with IndyCar, like if there were 2 cars stopped, would they have done it? But like obviously, when someone wads their shit up, they're going to throw it. So how is a car sitting there any different?
Right. And I mean, he was not necessarily on the racing surface, but here's the racing surface, and then you've got this much room for the wall, and he fit just in that surface. And like I said, that's where Elio targeted the last 2 years in practice, one time even hitting the wall, spinning through that corner. And we saw a bunch of people have problems with that corner because they put new concrete there, and they cased it just like they were casing that new curb in Long Beach a couple weeks ago. Not the finest of moments for IndyCar. And I think it's a really big joke just because guys dived in for their 3-stop pit strategy at that moment because they knew the yellow was coming out, and that gave them the advantage over the 2-stop guys, and it made the gamble pay off. But if anything, it's more unfair that the gamble paid off because you held the yellow rather than 1 or 2 guys making it in before the full course yellow comes out. You let all 8 cars come in that were on the 3-stop, get in there, and they all gained significant amount of position for that. So that was the unfairness for the 2-stop guys, which is the traditional strategy for that race. I don't know. Frustrated from my part.
Yeah.
I could rant on this kind of shit all day, every day, but y'all know me. So, all right. So next up is the Truex family suite at the Monster Mile. Woke or joke?
Woke. More so for Ryan than it is Martin. Because Martin's won damn near 40 Cup races by this point.
Yeah.
Cool for him. It sucks to see him win because I said at the beginning of the year that he wasn't going to win again. So, kind of a dagger to me. But it is cool to see Ryan win because he's been so close so many times and he's kind of been around for a while. Always thought he had a lot of talent, just never quite got the same opportunities. Lo and behold, now he's getting a Gibbs ride for multiple races and is finally showing what he really can do.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to say Woke as well, just because it's really cool. I don't know if we've ever seen a weekend sweep from brothers. It's possible that the Bush brothers have done it, but the Burtons probably haven't.
The Lobotoms, I would figure have.
They maybe while Jeff was not in Cup and Terry was in Cup, I'm not sure, but I'm going to bet, not very much because I'm probably going to lose the bet, but I would bet that this is the first time that brothers have ever swept a weekend in NASCAR history. So that statistic alone is enough for me to say Woke. Otherwise, I've got some more comment.
The Bush brothers that did it in 2006, 2009, 2010. Rusty Wallace and Mike Wallace did it at Dover and Bristol in 94.
There's no way.
So Mike Wallace won at Dover and Kenny Wallace won at Bristol in 94. And Rusty won it, the Cup race. The Waltrips did it at Darlington in 92. And Ward won the 2001 Southern 500 and Jeff won the Bush race that day or that weekend.
All right, well, I fucking failed on that bet. Damn, I'm glad I didn't put nothing down. But hey, it's their home track, so that's cool. That's the closest track in New Jersey.
All of them except the Wallaces were Cup drivers at the time. So the Wallaces were the only ones to do it racing full-time Xfinity. Right.
Well, the only part-time Xfinity driver and Cup driver sweep for brothers.
I think Kenny was part-time.
Ah, shit. I don't know. Anyways, it's pretty cool to see that happen, especially because Dover is their home track. As much as we had the jokes that every fucking track was for Truex in 2017 or whatever it was. But no, it's really cool to see that. And I don't know. There's not really much else to say to that. If you're a joke for that, you must just hate MTJ because you can't hate Ryan Truex. He's just kind of there.
Right. He hasn't done anything to hate worthy yet.
Yeah, but in his own words, he says, I belong here, and now everyone knows that. So Wilker joke on Ryan stating that, he belongs in the NASCAR National Series.
He probably does belong there. I don't know that he'll ever get the backing to be there. So I'm going to say Woke with the belief that he should be there. Yeah, he probably should. I don't think he'll ever get there without some miracle of funding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I'm his brother who was been a driver during the peak of the sport, I could probably steamroll some races. Right? Like, I mean, that's probably what he's doing to get him the few now, but I don't know. Little lesser known fact, Ryan Truex went full-time in Cup in 2013, I believe, maybe 2015 in the 83 car for BK Racing. So in my opinion, yeah, he's got the talent. He's got the name from his brother, but he kind of tainted his own path by running such a shitty car.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, but we've seen guys run really shitty cars before and come back and make a successful career out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, the best one that comes to mind recently is Ross, but
right.
I mean, John Hunter Nemechek, he dropped back for that. Well, yeah, DiBenedetto, yeah, I guess. No, but he didn't do anything when he got the
right.
He didn't do anything when he got the equipment, so it is what it is. In other Dover news, Steve Letarte post-race says maybe this is just Ross and we all have to deal with it in reference to the stage 1 wreck between himself and Brennan Poole as well as the affected Kyle Larson.
I'm going to say I I'm on the fence because I get where he's coming from, right? Like he's saying this is just Ross. Like he's had time to kind of grow into his own and get over it, but he hasn't.
Right.
So this is kind of who we're going to have to deal with. But I don't think that this is a we have to deal with it. I think this is the drivers have to deal with it. Like if they're going to continue to bitch about it, they better do something, right? Like I don't know if you listened to Denny's podcast earlier this week, but he claimed that Ross is pretty good with people getting back at him if they feel like they need to. Like he doesn't really, throw his arms up or anything. He just kind of takes it for what it is. He knows he races people super hard, super aggressive, so he kind of expects that, I feel. It's just no one has the balls to go out and do anything about it, so he's going to keep on doing the same shit.
Yeah, and I can't blame him for that. I mean, but what I can do is, I think Letarte his statements are woke here just because, that's exactly what's happening. Nobody's standing up to it, and like you said, if they are, he just kind of shrugs it off because he doesn't care. He is a Dale Earnhardt, early Kyle Busch heel driver. He is what the sport needs as much as I don't like him. And I find it very ironic when I hear people who, scream race Dale, praise Dale, throw up 3 for Dale, whatever, are complaining about this guy because, hey, the fan that you claim to be, the guy behind me, that's that's how he raced, if not worse.
Right.
For the majority of his career, Dale Earnhardt did some shit that was twice as bad, if not worse than twice as bad as Ross Chastain has in his small time in that one car. So
I will say I came to the realization this week after seeing so many Ross clips, right, and seeing Ross do all this shit. I would have booed Dale Earnhardt to no fucking end every single week.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would have hated watching him.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people did. Now, he died, so I'm assuming that's where the love and everything comes from, right?
But yeah, man, I would have given him the finger every chance I fucking got.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say that knowing damn well I've got a tapestry behind me that is dedicated to the man. The difference between Dale and Ross is the off the track. I guess
off the track persona.
Right? Yeah, it's not.
And
it's not there, and it's not as helpful. And that could just be because Ross is just now blossoming as a person. But Dale Earnhardt was influential in so many ways. Obviously, Ross can't recapture stuff like creating merchandise and forcing NASCAR into creating superstars. But if NASCAR was smart, they would use him as one of those superstars. Yeah. And they have an issue with public popularity because there's no superstars in the sport. But guys like Ross is somebody that they should be pushing because Harvick's out at the end of the season. Right. Kyle Busch is close. Denny's close. Yeah. Martin's probably got one foot out the door. And that's it. Who else do you have? And can those guys even be recognized in the public? Probably not. Because Candyman's gone. Candyman's gone. So nobody's going to know his face. Right. Who is that guy? That's just some racer dude. But they see the M&M's car. They're, that's Kyle Busch.
Right.
That's gone.
Yeah, I'd venture to say we have 0 household names in the sport right now. Even as popular as Chase Elliott is, he's only popular to a group of NASCAR fans who are just diehard NASCAR fans. And even at that, most of them are just junior fans anyway. Yeah. A Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain rivalry may be the best thing to happen to the sport if it fully develops. If it were to because
I would agree with that, but damn, how would you even get that to happen?
Well, yeah, I mean, Chastain has no problem doing it, but the issue is that Chase Elliott has the personality of a wet paper towel.
Yeah.
It's not like Gordon coming in and at least being this nice, young kid stirring the pot. Like, Chase is just fucking boring. Like, he's not a good one to make a household name.
Yeah.
we need a guy like another Darrell Waltrip to come in and just run his mouth all the fucking time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got that in Denny, but he's close to retiring, and
I was talking to Dakota Rutledge about this, I don't know, a week or so ago. Noah Gragson, if he ever really fully develops into what we saw in the Xfinity Series, could very well be it. Granted, we need several drivers like him, right, to get past the whole wall of sponsorship and censorship that we see there on the social media side. Noah could very well be it.
Yeah, well, to kind of cut off that part of the conversation and throw another Walker joke in there, what do we think about Legacy Motorsport going to Toyota? Is this a woke or joke?
Whatever they got to do. I'm going to say woke because I don't think they were getting the support from Chevrolet that Jimmy assumed they were going to get.
Yeah,
I think Jimmy assumed him moving over there, he would have a lot of sway, be able to get really good equipment from him, and really they're just like the fourth minor league Hendrick team to Chevrolet.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to say woke just because this is a remnant of Petty Motorsports. Obviously, Richard Petty's not a majority owner. His name's not on the cars anymore. But they've completed the circle of manufacturers again because now they're running Toyota because they've ran almost, it seems like, every single manufacturer that's ever been in NASCAR. So that, to me, is pretty cool. And then also as a Denny Hamlin / 2311 fan, this makes me even happier because we've got 2 more cars in the stable. And that is fantastic for that. Also, Noah Gragson is a Petty GMS driver. So unless he gets gone because of the Team Chevy deal, we've got another young, talented guy, like you said, that has personality in the Toyota camp. And I'm going to be in the Toyota camp forever because they make the best cars out of the 3 manufacturers IRL. So
I also think this is a move by Toyota to kind of separate Gibbs as the primary team, right? Because that's been the running joke for a decade now, is that every other Toyota is just a secondary. They just have spare parts from Joe Gibbs.
Right.
I think they're really trying to move away from that and fucking dominate the field and not just have 4 really good cars and then a handful of field fillers.
Yeah. This eats into Chevy's absolute win by numbers game too. So that's going to be easy, fun to watch. Another thing is Eric Jones, if he stays, he's back in the Toyota camp. So they're getting their return on investment, even though they lost him for a couple of years, which I think that is great for both parties there. And we know that Eric Jones can be an elite talent. So, I mean, it's all positives for everybody involved, especially seeing how data sharing happens a lot in the Toyota camp. So we could see the 1.5 mile program from Legacy very, very much improved because 2311 is basically the top team in that right now. And then the Gibbs cars will finally fall off the shelf that they've been looking to fall off ever since the announcement that Kyle was leaving. So that's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like Roush post everybody leaving Roush
2010.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. It's interesting to watch these ebbs and flows as fans over such a long period of time. So I'm pretty cool with it. Last thing for Walker Joke, streaming service may be coming to NASCAR based on rumor after the I think April 30th date, or maybe it was April 18th, something like that. Negotiations have started for NBC, Fox renewals, and open to new TV providers. So what do you think? NASCAR coming to a streaming service? Walker Joe.
10,000% woke. We've been talking about it for, 99 episodes now.
Probably.
NASCAR needed to move into the modern age of the streaming, of how people consume content. This isn't. I mean, it's not 2000 anymore. Like, people don't have cable. I know way more people that only use streaming services than I know people who have cable and streaming services or cable in general. People are getting away from the big networks and just going to streaming. Some of that is YouTube TV, right? Hulu Live, things like that. But a huge majority of people that I know do not have either one of those, and they just bootleg streams off of Discord.
That would be me.
That's a huge chunk of the fan base. And
there's
those
no
are
point, right?
In the ratings
for
either.
us. There's no points for us, right? Because how much does cable cost where you're at?
I haven't even had cable. The last time I had cable was 5 years ago when my roommate worked for the cable company here and got it for free. I couldn't even ballpark it. I've never even been interested in looking.
It's a minimum of $80 here, and that's without the sports package.
You're right. Like, you're going to be spending at least 100, 120 plus.
Right. So I can't watch Fox Sports 2 broadcasts that way. So what's the point? Talking about 100, probably like 100, 120 bucks a month just to watch NASCAR. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to use any of those other channels because I don't watch TV. Nobody watches TV anymore. If people watch TV, it's because they have it on in the background while they're working, either at home or it's a bar and they have TV on in the background. Like that's the only two situations that people watch it, or they're just fucking geriatric. Like,
yeah, we have YouTube TV and we literally only have it for the NASCAR races. Every once in a while, we'll flip on like Weather Channel when I know there's like a severe weather outbreak or something. But like you said, that's just more or less background.
But you can do that on the phone now too, because you can go to Facebook Live for your local news station, or you can get on TikTok and there'll be meteorologists doing lives while they're broadcasting on TV. So it's just it's an antiquated, outdated system. And when 18 to 40-year-olds, which in my opinion should not be a demographic, there should be a split there, is your smallest demographic, you got to go towards the millennial mindset because millennials are in their mid-40s now.
Right. And the prime demographic of NASCAR fans that view the races are dying off in droves. We have to, at some point, move south and try to grab younger people, or else we're going to end up like, I don't know, like fucking lacrosse. I don't even know how many viewers they get. Not many.
Well, I don't think I've ever gotten a lot of viewers. Let's be honest. I will say this, though. I'm 100% woke for this. We have floated ideas on this podcast. I've talked about supercars. You get on YouTube, you pay $7.99 a month. You can watch every single session of every single series, every single weekend that they race for all, I think, 12 events they have now, including all practices, in between times, pre-race, post-race, all that shit. $7.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. And if you want to wait and watch all 12 events in 1 month, you pay for 1 month. You do that, and you're fucking good. Great way to sell a product. We've talked about, hey, NASCAR, get a streaming service where your TV providers provide you with broadcasts for NASCAR Cup, Truck, and Xfinity and ARCA. And then when you're talking about the Canadian Pinty Series, the Will and Euro Series, the NASCAR Mexico Series, the ARCA Menards East and West Series, have that shit all in one package. Let me pay $59.99 a month so I can watch every single NASCAR sanctioned event, period.
Right.
Or we can get rid of Fox, because I am in love with Peacock. It is the best service. It is kind of shitty for streaming and stuff because it's only got certain shows and people don't like it because it's got commercials and stuff. But when it comes to sports coverage, I think Peacock is the best app, from ESPN Plus, Fox Sports Go, all that shit. I can go back and watch every single session of IndyCar from, I think, 2021 to now. Every practice is commercial free. 1 hour and 15-minute practices for the first practice, 50-minute practice for the second practice, 30-minute warm-ups on race day, and qualifying, commercial free. Races have commercials because obviously they're on TV, but you get to watch those in full replay too. They had the 2 Indy 500 test days, all 8 hours if Friday didn't get rained out, for free. It's on the paid package of Peacock, but commercial free, so you don't have to pay extra. All 8 days of Indy 500 practice, which are also 8-hour days, will be commercial free on Peacock, as well as both qualifying day for bump day and pole day. They're doing it right. IndyCar is doing it right. And I'm watching a whole lot more IndyCar content than I am NASCAR content right now because I have no way of watching on demand weekend or week of with NASCAR right now. And that's why I haven't watched any race other than Talladega live during my work weeks. I mean, there's no point. I have to get up early and watch them and stuff, and races aren't going to be barnstormers, so I just watch highlights. I'm a diehard NASCAR fan. That shouldn't be a problem. Right. I'll watch every lap if it doesn't inconvenience me.
Right, exactly. And the inconvenience thing is a huge part of it. Just because, like, my schedule allows me to do it, right? Because I get weekends off. I don't do shit on Sundays, and for the most part, Saturdays, at least Saturday afternoon, I'm not usually doing anything, so I can sit down and watch it. But you best be damn sure, as soon as I find something to do, I'm not going to watch the fucking NASCAR race live because I'd rather go do my other stuff and just watch the NASCAR race later. Right. You know, I mean, this, like I said earlier, it's not 2000 anymore. People don't plan their weekends around this shit. We got stuff to do. Our generation is impatient to the point of we don't want to have to wait on other people and not necessarily wait on other people. I don't want to have to plan my fucking weekend around when the Dover race is going to get rained out. Like, I don't give a shit enough.
Yeah. And that is exactly why 3:00 start times don't make any fucking sense to me. 12 p.m. NASCAR is perfect for our stupid little millennial brains because we wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, cut the grass, come in, make lunch and eat at the same time the race is on, and then we go fucking do our leisure shit at night, hanging out with our wives, kids, significant others, buddies, going, bowling or whatever the fuck people do. I don't know. I don't have friends. Like 3 p.m. it's just so late. It's such an awkward time. It's like,
right.
It's fucking stupid. But you know what? If it was on a streaming package, I could watch it on my time. And the more eyes you get on it, the more.
Yeah, and that's a big thing.
Okay, this is something. Okay, so my dad says, don't even DVR a race for NASCAR anymore. Just wait for the replays on YouTube. Family time is better. This is something that is wild to me because that's what we used to do. Is we would DVR them and watch them. We both wait 2 weeks for basically after the next races are on to get NASCAR races now.
Yeah. Wild. That your fans would rather wait the extra time for it to be free on a streaming platform than get a fucking cable package, DVR the sumbitch, and watch it later.
Yeah.
Weird concept. It's almost like we've been saying that for years.
Yeah, I know. You've got to know your audience to know your audience,
Right. You have to give a shit.
And
the good thing is we're starting to give a shit.
Yeah. The good thing is also for context, when it comes to this stuff, my dad does not watch IndyCar racing. Over the last couple of years, my dad has started watching IndyCar racing because it's more accessible. And I talk about it all the time because I fucking love it because it's the best series in America. If they could just get their act right and go fucking racing more often.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same with me and the dirt racing, the Chili Bowl, the Gateway Dirt Nationals. If I don't watch it that night, I can watch it at any time I want to.
Yeah.
Right? I can go back through and check it out and just stay off social media for a day. Right, so I don't see who won. That's no big deal.
Yeah, that's what I do with the Cars Tour. You got Flow Racing. I don't watch that shit live. I'm asleep most of the time when they're racing because they like to race on my off weeks for whatever reason. So I'll watch them when I'm up. I mean, it just makes sense. And it's not like the TV providers don't know because NBC Universal has Peacock for that reason. NASCAR's just got to be less stubborn about putting content on there. Right. More content is always better. If I can watch 3.5 hours of IndyCar content before the race. I need 3.5 hours of NASCAR content before the race too. That's all I'm saying.
I will say, branching off of this, I didn't see it in the notes, but they released this week that there's a very, very good chance that Fox and NBC both renew with NASCAR.
Yeah, that is the thoughts about it. I'm cool with NBC. If Fox drops and NBC takes over the whole thing and says, okay, we want more practice so we can get more streaming numbers on Peacock, it would be the best thing ever. And the way that they rotate people in and out of the booth, I think they could take everyone from Fox and just be like, all right, which races do you want? We want Dale Jr. to be at the Daytona 500, all the plate tracks, the Bristol Night Race, and the Southern 500. Other than that, Dale, where do you want? Steve Letarte, we want you at the road courses. We want you at the driver's track, so Phoenix and Gateway and the return to the Brickyard, which is supposedly happening next year, and then Pocono, that stuff like that. Dale Jarrett, we want you to come in and do
right
Dover and Atlanta too, all this stuff. Just fucking do it. NBC, take over. I will bow to you as my fucking multi-feather colored fucking, I don't know, my Peacock god. Because
I do wonder, and this is just me being nosy, if there's any kind of conversation with NASCAR and Fox about the broadcast, about like if there's going to be any kind of like stipulation, like, hey, like we'll re-sign with you guys for this probably lower amount, but you guys got to pick up the fucking quality.
So, 2 parts to that question. Highly doubt that this is not a very big increase. I know that NASCAR is not like other sports. MLB package was an increase in whenever they switched to Bally Sports and stuff. The NFL was a massive increase. The NBA, who has had numbers going down, had a massive increase. The NHL has had an even larger amount of viewership numbers going down, and they had a massive increase in as well. There's no way that this is not a massive increase. It might not be exponential like the NFL rights was this last time, but I can almost guarantee that they will be making more money.
Maybe.
Why are you not convinced?
Because of the tank in viewership. Because we're not like, NHL and MLB where you have hundreds, if not thousands, of games throughout the course of a season to be able to broadcast. We offer them, 20 races? That's it, including the duels.
Yeah, but if you give in to the streaming services, how much of a bump in viewership do you get?
It's yet to be determined. We don't know the numbers on that yet. And that's why I think too, like if NASCAR decides to do it to where they get some rights from Fox to throw that stuff in the streaming service, Fox is probably going to want to keep a little bit more of that change.
Yeah. So Drew Mason chimes in with live sports are the only thing to guarantee live eyes. I agree with that, and that's why I want more practice and stuff. But I will say for NASCAR, in this new TV deal, they really need to look at marketability, because I don't necessarily think that the product has ever been bad enough that that's why we're losing viewers. I think that we're losing viewers because nobody is taking people to races because it's too expensive, and people who are moving to local markets that are new to local markets don't know that they have NASCAR races because there's no marketability for the local level when it comes to all of this stuff.
Right.
I mean, look at the Indy 500. I said this, I think, last week, talking to Keith. Indianapolis has a fucking building that becomes an Indy 500 billboard in like March to sell the last 100,000 tickets for the Indy 500. That city rallies around that race because it's been a tradition for as long as it has been, but because everybody knows that it exists there, because everybody participates in it. They have a parade. They have all this other stuff. And we have that stuff at local tracks too. We have a Holo Parade every weekend. Right. How much are we putting into that Holo Parade on Thursdays and Fridays? Well, if as a local fan, if I don't know that Darlington's 3 hours away from me because I don't see a single fucking billboard the entire year, how am I supposed to know that? Other than the fact that, oh, I'm a NASCAR fan. I know Darlington's a thing. No one has ever heard of the Southern 500. No one. They know the Indy 500 and the Daytona 500. Most of the time, they think they're the same thing.
Right.
You got to market those people. All right. Anything before we move on to our actual discussions that we said we were going to have?
I think we got it all out.
All right. Did we? Because we're probably about to go on some more rants. Alex Bowman, he got hurt in an open wheel race in some sprint cars, and Josh Berry has returned to Hendrick Motorsports as a relief driver. And we didn't talk about it last week because it was Monday. We hadn't had the news yet. To frame this discussion, I want to know what your thoughts are because we had this conversation about Chase. But now that it's happened to two drivers from the same team, what are your thoughts on the future of how this goes? Not what you think should happen, but you think will happen in regards to Hendrick Motorsports drivers in general going out and doing stuff like this. Are they going to be allowed? Whether or not waivers are going to start being more stringent after this season because two A-list drivers, maybe not A-list stars, but that drive for the premier team in the sport have been out. And whether or not the extra NASCAR, I'll say, activities is going to be something that NASCAR itself looks at.
As far as Hendrick Motorsports, I think that he's going to call Joe Gibbs and talk to Joe. He's going to call all the other team owners and talk to them about what they do for their drivers, right? If he doesn't already know. But, like, I know Joe Gibbs has an implement with Christopher Bell, no sprint cars, right?
That's recent, too.
That is recent.
Last 2 years.
But no sprint cars. You can run a midget, fine. You can run I think you can still run late models, which is fine. But I think Hendrick moves into a no sprint car rule, at least for, say January to beginning of November, right? Anywhere from the week after Phoenix or the day after Phoenix to December 31st, run as many sprint car races as you want, right? I think that's what we're going to see it move into. I don't think there's going to be a total axe of extracurricular racing from Hendrick Motorsports. There might be. I don't see it moving that way, especially with Larson there. That was probably a huge selling point to Larson going to Hendrick was that, hey, we'll let you run whatever you want to during the week.
Yeah, and with him just now starting up the high limit sprint car series, if there was a ban on open wheel racing, that would be detrimental to him in particular.
He would most likely, if there was a complete ban from Hendrick Motorsports, Larson would most likely try to get out of that contract as soon as possible.
He would be going to SHR because we know Tony's not going to let that slide. He wants his drivers to race.
Or I think there's going to be a cap on the number of races you can compete in extracurricularly, right? 30 races throughout the year. That's it. I think NASCAR as a whole, I don't think they will tighten up the waiver policy. I think they absolutely fucking should, but I don't think they will.
If there's any party that needs to make this happen, it's them. Because if you look at contracts in other sports, the teams themselves usually police what players can or can't do. However, because we have such a different structure, the drivers are the teams, and if I'm NASCAR, my drivers not being on track hurts me. Chase Elliott not being there is not good. I'm the one that's going to make the decision to say, no more of this. You race in NASCAR sanctioned events or not at all.
Right. Yeah, and like your dad says, like Stuart Haas hasn't told Briscoe he can't race after breaking a finger.
Right.
I mean, it's also a finger, right? Like I could break that slamming it in a door. Just like you could tear your ACL walking downstairs wrong, right?
Or playing basketball like Denny Hamlin.
Right. So I don't think we see that waiver policy tighten up because Chase Elliott not being in the playoffs would fucking kill viewership. Alex Bowman not being in the playoffs probably wouldn't even notice it, right? But specifically for like the Chase Elliott effect, I don't think NASCAR is going to do anything about it. I think they should, but that's not the question at hand.
Right. All right then. I want to talk about what my dad has said. He says, I think this is status quo. With the minimal track time at a NASCAR event, it keeps a skill set at a top performance. I do like this mentality because I feel like some drivers say it's a load of shit, right? Those are usually the drivers that don't do it. If you look at guys who race more that do better, look at Kyle Busch. When there was nothing in his way to drive those lower series races, he dominated all 3 series, right? When you're behind the wheel more, you do better. So in my opinion, the more racing that we force to happen, or the more on-track product that we force to happen each weekend, the less these guys can do extra NASCAR activities. So you can't tell me that I'm going to go run 37 late model races or modified or sprint car races if I'm Kyle Larson if I've got to be at the track 3 days a weekend and I'm going to be on track 2.5 hours of those 3 days prior to the race, because my body's going to be in and out of a hot race car and I've got to continually prep myself for the race, and I can't just go run these 35 lap sprints that are feature races and dirt car races. I mean, these guys are going to get behind the wheel whether or not we want them to, because they feel like the more practice they have and whatever it is makes them better. So why not do it in front of your own audience,
right,
during a race weekend?
Right, on the brand new streaming platform.
Right, exactly. All these problems could be fixed with just adding practice that we can watch whenever we want to on demand. I mean, seriously, if I'm Kyle Larson, do I have the ability to race Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night because we've got X amount of racing here, if I've got to practice and qualify and practice again on Friday and Saturday instead of just practicing at 11 a.m., qualifying at 12 p.m. on Saturday, and then racing on Sunday at 3? I've got plenty of time to go to a racetrack near me for that. I'm not even showing up to the racetrack on Friday. Come on now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we know all the answers, Alex. I mean,
between you, myself, Keith, dude, I don't know if you watched last week's show, but I said Keith always knows what to say. Where I'm definitely the brashest of the 3 of us, and you guys are on the side of caution more. Between me making some decisions, you making sure that those decisions aren't too outlandish, and Keith knowing what to fucking say to the public, I think we would run NASCAR better than anyone in the history of the sport.
I mean, we'd give Bill Jr. a run for his money.
Hell yeah, we would. Them drivers wouldn't want me to come in there. Like my dad, of course, has been a race director for quite some time, the most of my life, or a flagman or whatever and stuff. But he'll tell you that there's no one that's more of a hard ass than me, because I'm a fucking dick when you give me some power. So I might have to let him be the guy that handles the day-to-day stuff, and I'll be in the back, because on the radio, I am a fucking dick. I'm like, I will be yelling at drivers to get the fuck off my track if they're going to keep driving like the pieces of shit they are and all this other stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I don't fucking play. So yeah.
You need to come run this track up here for a season.
No, I don't want to deal with the headache. I'm good. I've heard too many stories. I'm good, but
Yeah,
yeah, like let's fucking do it. We know what the fuck we're doing. All right. So we'll move on to what's going on because of this. So Chase was out for 6 weeks. We're looking 3 to 5 weeks with Bowman. So if we do the math, that is 10 Cup races potentially for Josh Berry. Well, minus Coda, so 9 potentially for Josh Berry. And he's not been a slouch. He's finished second once. He's had a bunch of top tens, a handful of top tens. He's really only not finished well at Bristol Dirt in his first race at Vegas. So there's a bunch of stuff surrounding Josh Berry right now. First and foremost, how do you feel about him potentially having this rumor that he has a contract coming up in 2024? Do you feel like it could be possible that we see Josh Berry to Cup in 2024, realistically?
I think it's not only possible, I think it's probable.
Okay.
I don't think that teams in any team, right, could sleep on this guy if they have a slot opening up or if they can make a slot. He's already proven in very minimal Cup experience that he can go out and grab top tens. Granted, it's in Hendrick equipment, but he's also
never raced in the Cup Series before, which is a big step up. And this next gen car is totally different than anything he's ever driven.
Right. And he's wheeling the piss out of him every week.
Yeah.
He could definitely get up there and do just like he did in the Xfinity Series, get a decent shot, go out and win a Martinsville or win a Richmond, right? And then propel himself even further forward. I think Cup teams would be stupid not to sign Josh Berry for 2024.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with you. The thing is, there's not a lot of space in the Cup Series in a top tier ride. So my question is, if he doesn't get a top tier ride, does he shine, or how is that going to be? Because my only fear, which this is not necessarily going to happen, because if you look at Josh Berry, he's a damn hard worker. He knows everything he can about cars because he's been a mechanic at Junior Motorsports Late Model Program as a driver as well for years now, and he's got great racecraft, which we've seen. But if he doesn't get in a good car, is he going to excel, or is he going to just drive to his car? Is he that kind of driver? That's my only question.
I think he is to some degree. I don't think Dale Jr. is going to let him get in a shit car.
Okay.
Right? I think Jr. would, with that mentorship there and the good friendship they have, will tell him, hey, like, I'll just pay you an extra $200,000 a year to come drive this car. Don't go drive that pile of shit, right? I think the worst kind of car we see Josh Berry in is something equivalent to or in the 21, right, where it's like a second-tier team but still fairly competitive at most places. I don't think he's going to go to like a Front Row Motorsports or a Rick Ware or anything like that. I don't think that is going to be beneficial, and I don't think, like I said, I don't think Dale Jr. is going to let him do that.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with him, but Dale Jr. is not managing him anymore. So what do you think about this? He just signed with KHI, and considering the hat that you're wearing, what are you thinking about where this man ends up in 2024?
You want my full play of cards at it?
Absolutely, yes.
I think Eric Jones goes to the 4, and I think he jumps in that 43.
Really?
I think, yeah. I think
even
Tony
with the switch to Toyota?
Yep.
Okay.
Or we see a big shuffle around and he lands somewhere else. But I think Eric Jones grabs that 4. I don't think Josh Berry's in it.
Okay.
I don't think Stewart would take another chance on a rookie like that to develop him for years if that is what it takes. They need to win races now.
Yeah, you're right. That is an interesting take.
Or it's going to be a Stenhouse deal. Right.
I was thinking that he signed with KHI. This is a fucking shoe-in. There's no way he's not in the 4. But now you got me thinking. And I'm pretty sure that's probably a very popular opinion just because people like me, CKHI, and they're like, oh, you
Right.
can just go into the 4. But thinking about it, Eric Jones would be a stellar driver to have, especially over Ricky Stenhouse Jr., which I don't even know why you brought him up. Tony Stewart does not want to pay to fix race cars. You heard his figure 8 about Talladega. There is no way in hell that is going to happen. So
Ricky's developed a lot in the last 3 years.
He still wrecks race cars. He still wrecks race cars.
Not as
I don't give a shit. Progress on wrecking 30 times a year is wrecking 20 times a year, but that's still 20 times a year.
He wrecks just as often as Eric Almirola does.
Well, Eric Almirola brings a fucking paycheck. Guess who doesn't? Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's not a pay driver.
Gene Haas is a fucking billionaire. He doesn't give a shit.
Gene Haas.
He just bankrolled Cole Custer's career for 4 years.
Yeah, well, Cole Custer wins races.
No, the fuck he does not.
No, the Cup Series, but he won 9 fucking in one season in Xfinity.
What have you done lately?
I guess you know what?
2019.
Eric Jones, if you were going to look at the 2 prospects that you've named and you really seriously see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as a possibility over Eric Jones,
I'm not saying Eric Jones is definitely top of the list, right? But
okay.
I don't think Ricky can be ruled out, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't. Okay, well, I'm going to rule him out because I don't care that he won the Daytona 500. He does not. He does not. He's not consistent enough, even though he's been consistent the last couple of years compared to what he used to be. He is not a driver that I would ever put in my car. I would rather have somebody that's going to run lower consistently in my car than someone who might win 3 races in his tenure at my race team, but finish 34th with wrecked race cars 6 out of 10 weeks. I'm sorry. I would rather have Ryan Blaney. I would rather have Ryan Blaney drive for me than Ross Chastain.
I mean, Tony
That's
knows
the kind of.
And your dad brings up a good point. The 14 and I think the 10 is signed through the end of 2024. They're the only ones with multi-year deals. The 41 is on a 1-year basis. The 4 is out at the end of the year. There's 2 rides possibly opening up.
We could see them both over there then, if that's the case. Right. I would say the Eric Jones theory is the most plausible of those 2. And honestly, after hearing you say it, I could see Legacy taking on Josh Berry. And I think that would be very beneficial for that team as well as Noah Gregson because they've worked together in the past. And so there's already chemistry there. And Josh is a fucking racing genius, even though these cars aren't necessarily stock cars. They're more touring cars. He's going to bring a lot to the table that team has not had since
the Ambrose Almirola days. They worked really well together.
Yeah, but even then, he's bringing more than they had.
Yeah, you have.
When is the last time they had engineering know-how within a driver? John Andretti,
Bobby Hamilton.
That's even worse. That's even older. So, I mean, we could actually see
maybe.
Bobby
Labonte, maybe. That would be the only other.
Well, yeah. Well, he was in the swamp song of his career, so
yeah.
This would be the right time for them, especially if that happens, despite the fact that it's Toyota. If they could get Josh Berry, that would be astronomical. And I would not mind having Josh Berry in the Toyota camp because that would be beautiful.
Junior's been looking at a Cup team, right? Rick Ware might have a charter up at the end of the year. With the whole Cody Ware shit going on, might not want to pay for it.
Rick Ware is a fucking dragon. He is not letting that damn charter go. He is going to make every cent off of it he can because it money rolls his team in IndyCar. It money rolls his team in the Asian Le Mans Series.
He fucking
his NHRA team.
Especially if NASCAR comes in and says, "Hey, you're not doing shit."
His Supercross team now as well is money rolled by NASCAR.
Well,
those two charters fund every other racing adventure that he goes through. There's no way that he lets either one of those go.
He might be forced out of it. We saw him do it with Starcom. It's not out of the question. Junior grabs a charter. Noah Gregson's his driver.
Yeah, but
he's not carrying it. Yeah.
Who does that leave?
Fucking Jimmy Johnson
for the 42. See, okay, so I have not listened to the podcast yet about them going in together on a cup team, right? I haven't got that far chronologically on the Dale Jr. download, but how fucking shitty is it that they were going to do that and then he buys fucking Petty GMS as a partnership? That's fucking shitty. So I don't know if he would even, I don't know. I don't know what could happen. Maybe Legacy's going to have another buy-in from Junior Motorsports. We see Junior Motorsports with Toyota. I don't fucking know. Who knows at this point, man? The whole NASCAR's
either way. Eric jumps the fourth.
Yeah. All right. So the last thing that I had on the docket for today was I just put it in our notes is weather in the formula. So whether or not we need to put some new rules in for things. So which would you rather go on first? The Twitter complaints for the starting lineup procedures right now or the Monday racing stuff?
Let's go over the Monday racing stuff.
Okay. All right.
So go ahead.
Dover, 2 out of the last 3 years, has raced on Monday. Mm-hmm. What do we do about it?
I think you have to look back. 3 out of the last 5 have ran on Monday.
3 out of the last 5. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, 3 out of the last 4, if we want to be really technical about it. Fucking moved over to a fall date. Like, swap them and Watkins Glen.
Okay. This is a ongoing battle with a couple of different racetracks. Most notably the dirt race at Bristol, which is up in arms, as we know. And then the Daytona 500 even, which I doubt we move that. But
yeah.
I propose that if we have 2 out of 3 years that are rain affected, whether or not that means that we are delayed to Monday, if it means that we're delayed to later on in the evening, that we should relocate on the schedule said track. What do you feel about that?
I think that's tough because let's take the spring Bristol race. There's not many other tracks we can go to in that time frame that aren't already going to experience that same weather, right? Because spring is the rainy season for 99% of the country. There's not many tracks that we're going to be able to go to that have decent enough weather to run a cup race that are going to be predictably dry. Because you're kind of limited to the south, maybe as far west as Kansas. Michigan is out of the question because of snow. You're really kind of limited there. But I would say slight shifts might work. Maybe later in April, right? Early May for the Bristol race. Same with Dover. You could probably swap that with maybe New Hampshire, but they also get a lot of snow. Even into this part of the year, they do have snow showers, but it's not like we're foreign to snow showers. We've seen it snow at fucking Bristol before. We saw it snow at Fontana this year. Me as a race fan, I'd rather deal with a snow out than a rain out because at least the snow out is something else to talk about.
Right.
It rain all year.
Right. So, but in particular, Dover, this May date's not working. They used to have a fall date, never got rained out. So that's an easy move.
Right.
Who do we put in there?
I think you put, like I said, a Watkins Glen would be good. A New Hampshire would be good. Beginning part of May, I feel like you could throw Michigan in there. They're not going to get quite as much heavy or steady rain as Dover's going to get. I might be fucking wrong. I don't know. I've never lived in Michigan. But I don't feel like, just judging kind of based on our northern weather patterns here, we don't get as much this part of the May or this part of the year. We get more of ours in May, June, July. And I feel like that's how places like Watkins Glen and Loudon are as well.
Now that could be Potentially what it's like. I don't know. I don't look at weather across the country. I'm not
Yeah,
a
I don't give a shit what the weather's
meteorologist.
like in fucking New Hampshire.
I look at my phone for what it's going to be like here, what it's going to be like at the racetrack that NASCAR's at every weekend, or if IndyCar's on an oval. That's the only time I'm looking at the weather. So I don't know. For me, I was thinking they bought Dover, who owned SMI. I'm saying bought Dover, who owned South Boston and um, Nashville. Why not just swap the two concrete tracks? Because you could have a not hot as shit Nashville race.
Yeah,
And then if it rains, because this is putting it in the same sort of situation, it'll be a Saturday night race, and you can just run it on Sunday because Nashville's a night race. So that's my thing. I do kind of agree with you that there's some scheduling things that just have to happen because we have such a long schedule and we want to have such a diverse schedule. So you have to have places in certain places because you don't want it to be blistering hot. But like Nashville, we also race at Atlanta, which is hot as fucking balls in July. And I'm not sure what the decision was for that, but I fried my ass off last year at that race.
I mean, yeah, we used to run Talladega in August.
Yeah.
You know,
So
it's doable. NASCAR fans will go out in droves even when it's hot, right? Nashville a couple years ago was retarded hot. You know, which one would you rather deal with?
I would rather deal with the heat than the rain, but I also know that the guys on the roof don't don't want to pass out and die. I also know that the fans in the stands don't want to pass out and die. I look at people who don't have healthy bodies because they're differently abled, whether that's an autoimmune disorder, another disability like they can't walk or stuff. I would err on the side of caution for them just because we need those fans too. But I mean, you can't race in the rain, so sorry.
Right, and those fans are going to kind of be in the same boat if we're under a lightning delay.
Yeah.
Right. If there's lightning in the area, they got to get under something.
Yeah.
But they're kind of still in that same boat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. And my dad has mentioned he went up to Atlanta one time and there was a blizzard. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter. I remember February we were racing in Atlanta. One year it was sunny and bright, and the next year the ceiling was so low you couldn't even fucking see the spotter stand.
Yeah.
And it was frigid cold, and it was one of the worst races I've ever been to. So, I don't know. We can manipulate the schedule, but I think we also need to figure out what we're okay with because I'm okay with only going to the West Coast in the first part of the year because they don't experience rain.
Right.
But is the majority of NASCAR fans okay with that, not returning at the end of the year? Obviously not because we've added a Vegas date and we've added a Phoenix date because both of those tracks used to only have one. So I don't know. It's difficult. But the other part of the equation is the rained out qualifying gives us the formula for the starting lineup. Now, the formula, if you're not aware, we've been doing it since 2020 due to COVID. When we showed up and just raced, it was based off of fast lap time and finish of the previous race, which were heavily involved in the formula, as well as current points position, non-playoff points position during the regular season. So it did not account for wins or anything like that. Just surely, if you were 20th in points, but you had a win, you were 20th in points, not second or third, because you were one of three winners, whatever.
Right.
So that's how we've been doing it since 2020. This is our fourth year doing this. We did it full time for 2020, like I said, and then for Reigns. A lot of people were mad because they felt like incidents with the 15 car and the 77 car were caused because you had slow guys up front. Would you change this? And if so, how?
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of grown out of this. It was really good for COVID, I thought, just because of the policies in place. Um, but I would rather see him just line them up by driver point standings, right? Not do the playoff standings where you put the winners all up front. Just run off your point standings. We keep a point total anyway. I'd rather see him line up by that than do this metric thing at this point. Like I said, just because I feel like we've kind of grown out of it. It's complex, right? A lot of people don't know what the formula is, right? Like I don't know what it is unless I'm looking at a sheet explaining what it is and how much percent each weighs into it. Let's just line them up on point standings.
I am going to totally disagree with all the outcry over all this stuff. First and foremost, drawing randomly is not a good option for this. But I like the formula. I don't like that in the playoffs, the playoff drivers get precedent. I think that's a little bit whack because even if drivers, at least in 2020, I'm not sure if rain delays happened in the last couple of years if we did it this way. But in 2020 during the playoffs, the top 16 was always playoff drivers. The top 12 was always playoff drivers. The top 8, top 4 actually came through. I don't like that. I do like this formula, though, because it rewards you for doing good. And it gives you something to race for each week, not just throughout the whole season. The problem with the points is, let's say I am Denny Hamlin, and I am caught up in a wreck in the Daytona 500. My engine blows in Fontana because of the sand. What else happened last year to Denny Hamlin? I don't know. It felt like the first 8 races, he had pit penalties. He had tires coming off. He got involved in other people's shit. He is stuck in the back every time qualifying is rained out if this happens, right? There's no way to make it better, right? I don't think that's necessarily fair. I know using my favorite driver is biased here, but I think, we reward stage points during the middle of a race for a driver to get rewarded for being consistent. Why are we not doing that why would you not want that to happen with qualifying as well? If you have a massively fast lap, that should count for something next week if we're going to run by the formula. And then your position, your finish from the last week. I think the formula is perfect, and I wish it would have been the way that we did this way back. Or, and hear me out, we do 3 days worth of on-track activity, and we take practice times to do start lineup.
Right. Well, that's the ideal one.
Because we didn't even do that when we had practice. We still took championship points.
Right.
Even though we had on-track time.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's obviously the ideal way. As far as your argument, tough shit. If you're fast, make your way up.
See, I just
scenario, tough shit. Like
the 77 got caught up in something that wasn't his fault, and Ross Chastain, Brennan Poole. I don't think they didn't deserve to be there because of what happened at last week's race. I think it's on the other drivers to get around them.
What if they line them up based on driver position the last time they were at that track? New drivers start in the back. And you could line them up by owner's points, right? If there's 8 new drivers, okay, 54 is first in owner's points, right? Let's throw him up and then stack him from there.
See, I don't like it. I don't like it like that, right? I think the formula is the best way to do it because you're rewarding the current trends of. It's basically like a power ranking. Now, if you want to say it's too heavily weighed on the previous results because of Talladega being a shit show and we had the 15 and 77 starting up front, okay, we'll make it the past 6 races.
Yeah,
that way, if you've got a bad run of races, they don't haunt you for the whole season. Should we, rain out qualifying?
How many times do we ran out qualifying a year? 4, maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just an argument we shouldn't have.
I mean, I feel like it's a moot point at this point because, I mean,
Yeah.
this will be brought up, like I said, 4, maybe 5 times throughout the year, right? I can think of one other time it got rained out this year, which is Fontana.
But it's people are just mad because the slow drivers got in the way. I think that's what it boils down to.
Well, and I don't give a shit about that. I'd rather see some of the slow guys up front.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The formula is the way we should be doing this shit.
Let's invert the field driver standings. I want, goddamn, if Coda qualifying rains out, I want Jordan Taylor on the pole. Fan vote.
You know what? If we're gonna be fucking WWE of fucking motorsports, you might as well go fucking full tilt, I guess. You know, I don't know.
Fan vote qualifying. Fans vote inside row. The metric of everyone else sets the outside row. Let's make it a fucking game.
Jesus Christ. You know what? Yeah.
I done pissed Alex off.
Yeah. Well, we just need qualifying every week.
We just need practice and qualifying.
We need practice. God damn it, give me practice. I want to see these boys run 42 laps on Friday while I'm getting ready to go to work.
Yeah. Set them up. 5 lap averages of practice times. There we go.
Yeah. Let's see that. Okay. So I talked to you about this before we got on. If you made qualifying that was potentially going to be rained out, if we qualify on Saturdays, we practice the longest on Fridays and a little bit on Saturday before. You take practice 1 results if qualifying is to get rained out, and the 10 lap average is what gets you your starting spot. You guarantee more drivers on track and more fans to see on track time.
Yeah, I dig it.
It's a win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah.
Because you still get to start up front if your car's fast. It's just you can't go out there and Ryan Newman your way up there because you can put down a fast lap. That's what the spectacle that qualifying should be is.
Right.
Also,
I agree.
Let's do what Colton said a couple months ago and just fucking get rid of this 2-round qualifying bullshit.
Yeah. We don't fucking need
Line them up. Even and odd or something like that. Let's roll out 40th first from practice 1 speeds, then 20th, then 39th, and all that way. That way you've got
a good mix.
Some mix of drivers. That way you still get the faster times at the end of qualifying, but you still get some big names at the beginning of qualifying.
Right. And then you can see guys that are maybe, 18th quick get really good track position or good track time, right? Because maybe it's clouded over or something. Right? That would be perfect.
Yep. Just let Fan Fuel Motorsports take over NASCAR.
Yeah.
That's what we've been saying. 99 episodes of this shit. We're still not in charge. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll order the polos. That's fine. I'll get us some business cards.
Yeah. Shit. I don't know. It seems so easy. Why aren't we doing things like this?
I know. What the hell are they doing?
I don't know. You know what the problem is? They don't like racing. That's what the problem is.
Yeah.
They just like wearing suits and being rich.
Yeah, a bunch of nepos.
I don't even have to be rich. Fucking give me a corner office with a view and I'll fucking sleep there.
Right.
Just let me fucking go to the races for free each weekend. I'll call that and pay me a stipend so I can eat and take a shower. I'll be good.
Right.
I'll run the sport for you. Make your millions of dollars. I don't know that our significant others would like that too much.
Yeah, probably not.
Some money. I think that's good enough. I think we ranted enough tonight.
Yeah, this
you
is
got
just
anything else?
No, I think I'm ranted out. I think I got it all out. I'm feeling a little better.
Yeah. Well, do this every couple months where we just talk shit.
We just
the
bitch
entire
the whole
time.
Yeah.
But we have not badmouthed NASCAR once tonight. We've kind of made light of the situation a couple of times, but we did not call them names or anything. I think we did good this time.
Yeah, I think
I pat myself on the back for that one. Yeah, we're constructing this criticism.
Yeah,
We're not being dicks now.
yeah, we're taking a
We've grown in the
professional
last.
approach. Yeah,
Yeah,
taking the
only took
mature
us 100
road.
episodes.
Yeah, we'll get there. You
All
just wait.
right. With that being said, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. We really do appreciate it, and I guess we'll see Colton in a couple of weeks. He's going to be doing some different schedule this month because his birthday is on the 17th. So that's cool. I get married on the 20th, so I'll be doing some different stuff. So he'll be covering for me a little bit, as well as we'll have something probably special on the 17th that's not current news related, and then we'll see you next week. Other than that, Keith and I'll be doing one day show, and then probably won't see me because and my dad is moving himself. So go to Matt at I know you're watching, but we'll get those sponsors in as soon as your marketing department answers me on all my ideas about how you want to portray yourself on the podcast. So we'll get that done. But other than that, let's see you guys next week. Thanks for coming on as always, Colton.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. All right. Bye.